week 1 reflection video review. And this right here, I'm basically going to go ahead and show you a little overview of my code. While we're actually getting that done, let's go ahead and get my application up and running. Now, for my application, I didn't do anything fancy. As you can see right there, it just loaded. It's just plain as day. Got the table views up and loaded. Loads everything on there. It's just plain text. Due to the simulator size, it actually is supposed to have a bar down here. I actually tested this app out on my iPad. Needed to find some use for it for this course. So let's go ahead and jump into the code. So basically, right when it loads, it actually calls the Twitter method, which will go ahead and pops up the loading alert, runs through the Twitter code, grabs about 20 tweets from my user, as you can see up here in the JSON, and loads it into the list view, which it actually goes through here, and it'll just go ahead and load it back on there, and it actually dismisses the alert down here. This line of code I actually had to find online, and it worked out beautifully. I was having issues with that last month when I was taking this class. Did find this online and saved my day. And once everything is loaded, I went ahead, once the cells are clicked on, it's actually throwing everything over to the detail page. Now the detail page as well as my profile page are very similar to my cell view, which it kind of just throws data back and forth, converts it over to an S string and throws it back over, and then places it in the UI label or image for that matter. And you can see there, give you a little sneak peek right there. So once it goes ahead and loads everything on there, let's go ahead and take a look at that. It'll go ahead and give you the username, the actual name of the person, the location, and the date and time. And it'll actually give you the tweet down here as well. I don't use Twitter very often, so a lot of my tweets are just testing and nonsense basically. Now, if we want to go ahead and post a tweet, let's see here. See if I can get this cut out of there so we can go ahead and post something different. And on the iPad, the actual keyboard shows up, and you can write anything that you want on there. On the simulator, for some reason, on the 64-bit, there's something going on where the simulator is just not pulling up my keyboard. But I can assure you it does run on my device just flawlessly. And I'll go ahead and post it, and it will show up here once I hit the refresh. But before we go ahead and do that, let's hit the view profile. Here, it's actually going to go ahead and pull up the profile information, push it over to the profile page. Here, it's going to go ahead and convert the integer from the followers count and the friends count and convert it over into a string, so that way it's easier to push over. Did have a lot of issues trying to push over an integer, found converting it over into an endless string was super simple, saved me hours of work. And let's go back here, and while I'm wrapping this up, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the refresh. Well, I would like to have done better if I had the time. I mean, 24 hours in one day, in my opinion, is very, very small, not enough time for me. Is to go ahead and tweak out the UI. I love playing with Photoshop. I love tweaking out UIs. Been playing with that a lot on my off time. But I needed to concentrate more on the coding part than anything else, and for me that's what I needed to get done with this class. So I stayed away from playing with the UI. I just wanted to get the main basics run through to make sure the code and the data get sent back and forth properly. And right here you can see this is the new tweet that I put up on there, and from my iPad simulator. So this is my project. Naturally, over the next week or so, I will actually go back to this project and tweak it out and just modify it slightly, so it actually gives it a nice UI look, something easing for the eyes instead of just some plain as day application. But that concludes my video, and I hope to see you guys all next week.